Maurice Naftalin has just given a talk here today at JDK conference in Copenhagen. Hello, Maurice.
Hello.
You're a Java champion. And now I think you're really into functional programming, isn't it?
I wouldn't say I'm into functional programming. What I think is happening is that trends from functional programming are finding their way into mainstream languages like Java. Functional programming used to be a ghetto, really. It was something that happened in academic life. But increasingly, there's various trends, and particularly the need to be able to have immutable data structures, to be able to program sensibly with immutability, means that because of parallel hardware, means that ideas from functional programming are becoming more important. But also functional programming, there are features like closures and lazy evaluation and pattern matching, which originally came from functional languages, which are just now found to be very good, very useful in mainstream programming languages, and are eventually creeping into Java as well.
We saw it in Java 8, for instance.
Absolutely, and there's more to come yet. I think pattern matching will appear in Java in the medium term as well.
I'm asking you this because you talked today here about collections, right?
Yeah, I did. The talk I gave here didn't particularly touch on functional programming. I have talked about functional programming when I talked about streams, because the stream style of programming, which came in Java 8, is very much functionally oriented. Today I was talking about collections, which are very important and are really very much an everyday tool for all Java programmers. I was talking about them in terms of their performance and aspects of the performance which aren't often understood by Java programmers. What all of us learned when we were at university was to measure or to estimate the performance of a particular algorithm in terms of the number of operations that it involved. So, if you've got to do so many comparisons or so many additions or multiplications, that's a measure of how fast or how slow the calculation will be. But it turns out that with modern computer hardware, there are other features, like, for example, where the data is to be fetched from. Memory is random access, and so in principle it should take as long, it would seem it should take as long to fetch data from one part of memory as from another, but in practice that isn't the case at all. And so we've got other things to think about besides the number of operations that are being performed when we analyse how well a collection is performing.
Going back to this functional programming thing, do you think it's kind of a trend or is here to stay?
It's a trend that's here to stay. Yes. I think there's no question that the ideas of functional programming, it's a good example of how things that people dismiss as blue sky thinking and just kind of academic curiosity may well come to be very important later on. So I've known functional programmers. I've known people who've been doing functional programming for decades and decades, and for a long time they said, "Oh, this is the coming thing," and recently they've just been looking more and more satisfied with themselves because they realise that parallel hardware just means that it's going to be more and more important to be able to reason with immutability, and so functional programming is going to come into its own more and more. But that doesn't mean that we're going to get rid of Java or that we're going to get rid of mutability. What it means is that there's going to be a mixture of those ideas. Scala is one version of mixing ideas of functional and object-oriented programming together, but there'll be others. I was listening to a talk today on Kotlin, which was very interesting, and that's another way of trying to combine them. So no, functional programming is not going to go away. The ideas from functional programming are going to be infused into the mainstream.
And the last question I want to ask you, Maurice, what is it to be a Java champion? I mean, what are the duties you have, or the no duties? I don't know.
You don't have any duties as a Java champion. Being a Java champion, you become a Java champion on the basis of stuff that you've done, rather than stuff that you're going to do. So there's no obligations. But the Java champions, They differ very much in how active they are in the Java community now. So some people have dropped out of. Some Java champions were made Java champions a long time ago, and then are doing something else now. But the Java champions regard themselves mostly, apart from those people, as a spectrum. But amongst the ones who are active, they regard themselves as a community with a duty to bring the developer's perspective to Oracle. And we think that we represent an independent source of an independent and valuable source of opinion and knowledge about Java, which can be very useful both we think in explaining Oracle's views to the developer community, but also in bringing the opinions of the developer community in a focused way to Oracle as well. So and promoting Java and the image of Java and knowledge about Java in general. That's a lot of people, a lot of Java champions regard that. It's not a necessary duty, but they've taken it on. Yeah.
Okay, thank you, Maurice, for your time. Enjoy the conference.
Thank you very much. I'm sure I will. Thanks.